So this is one of our seal coat machines. It's called a Pavement Saver. It has a squeegee on the bottom. It has a spray unit on top. It has a hand wand for getting the edges and things like that. And the key to this machine is this is a big old filter. Because there's solids in the sealer, you need to filter it out so that you don't clog the tips and get uneven wear. Here's a couple of my tankers that we take out to jobs. We use these tankers to haul the material to fill these machines. We also have a tanker called the Rainmaker that has a spray bar on the back of the tanker, so you can spray from the tanker, and it's pretty amazing how much area you can cover with that. But again, so critical that you're spraying your seal coat, because most of these parking lots are tight surface and you're not going to get enough material with just a squeegee alone. So let's talk about seal coating. This is new asphalt. It's black. The aggregate in the asphalt is gray, and that's why eventually the asphalt turns gray. This asphalt is ready to be sealed, probably a year or two beyond ready to be sealed. The thing about sealing new asphalt like this is you'll put sand, you can squeegee it, there's a lot of options. Sometimes the asphalt gets rougher. As we move into a turn area here, we can see that this asphalt is very rough. A lot of room for sand. So we would put extra sand, we'd put some latex, and we'd try to fill up these voids. What I'm going to show you later is parking lots that usually have been sealed too much. Now in this case, we could squeegee both coats of this sealer. But what I'm going to show you later on is that most of the time we're going to be spraying because we can't get enough material on the ground with a squeegee. We're in a shopping center. This is kind of typical, a typical shopping center. It's ready to be seal coated again. It's ready to be maintained, if you will. So we would have to address these areas that are raveling really bad. The reason why these areas are raveling is because this is where the water travels. If you look at the planter areas, you can see water coming across and eroding the asphalt. That's why oftentimes you see valley gutters. But essentially what we would do here is we would patch the bad areas. This looks to be a failure over here. Patch that. And then we would reseal and restripe the parking lot. Now, the thing to notice is the texture is pretty tight. So this is what I was talking about before, where we're going to want to squeegee the first coat. We're going to want to spray the second coat so that we get the right amount of material on the ground so that it holds up. Anywhere there's a planter, right, it's going to be irrigated. Water's going to run. It's going to overshoot the planter, and water's going to run. And that's why you get the wear right here from the water running on it. Beautiful planter, but it's not good for the asphalt. Again, this is why you want to keep it seal coated to protect it. And then these are the cracks that we would fill with hot applied crack filler. So generally in California, the cracks don't get big because you don't have the thaw freeze. Here we have cracks that are, quarter of an inch at the most. But again, we hit that with hot crack filler before we seal coat it, and you're fine. And these are expansion cracks. That's what we're looking at here is expansion cracks. And that's just what happens in California with clay soils. This section of the shopping center is ready to be resealed. There's some asphalt that needs to be repaired. We need to do another seal coat. But as I said before, the surface is tight. The surface is very tight. So there's nowhere for the solids to go. And if you squeegeed this parking lot, you'd pull all the material off. You wouldn't be left with enough. Where you should be getting 35 square feet to the gallon, you'd be getting 60 or 70 square feet to the gallon because it's such a tight surface. That's why we spray. The other thing to note is the striping. So what happens with stripes is ghosting. This was done right in that they painted black and then they striped over that black paint. This one, they didn't do that, and for whatever reason, the stencils never line up and you get this kind of effect. It's called ghosting. We're standing in a parking lot for a big box store. This parking lot was sealed 2 years ago and it's wearing already. If you look at the way it's wearing, you can see it's streaky, and that's because it was squeegeed. This parking lot wasn't sprayed, otherwise you'd have even wear. But because it was squeegeed, you can see where these sand windrows are showing up. Again, 2 years old, it shouldn't be in this condition, right? But what happens with the big box stores is there's national contractors that sub the work out, and it's all about price, it's not about quality, and this is what you get. You get a seal coat where a lot of material wasn't left on the ground, and it just, where it should last 5 years, it's gonna last 3. This is an example of what the water does. Again, there's your planter area. That's where the water comes over and runs down and causes this erosion of the pavement. This is a private easement, if you will. Different businesses on different sides, different owners, an association that manages the common area, which is the easement. And you can see that one side has been maintained and the other one has not. The other thing that's interesting is we've talked about erosion. Here's a valley gutter, right? Because that's where the water's going to run, and they want it to run on concrete so that it won't erode like we've seen in previous parking lots. As we walk along, you can see that this side is all cracked up, it's broken, it needs to come out and be replaced. This side has had maintenance done on a regular basis. It's in great shape, it's going to be fine. We move further along, we see a pothole. What happens is, where the turning action happens, that is what has the most pressure on the pavement. That's why you'll see potholes and failure always in the areas where people are turning to come in and come out. Pretty common. As we move into this parking lot over here, we see asphalt that has been maintained. I happen to know that as we move further along here, we're going to come into a section that was cement treated, full depth rehabilitation, we call it FDR. This area that was cement treated is holding up beautifully. This was done probably 10 years ago. You've got forklifts running around here and it's holding up just fine, but it really, if you're going to put forklifts on pavement, it should be concrete. It should be a rigid pavement. This is kind of a rigid pavement because of the cement treatment, but it's less than ideal. Pavement fails because it's being used for the wrong purpose. They're dealing with failed areas with crack filler, which isn't going to hold up. This area over here, well, it's all gone. This all needs to come out and be put back. The way this is breaking up indicates how thick it is. So this pavement is not very thick, maybe 2.5 inches thick, and you've got semis running on it. So of course, it's not going to hold up. On this side, you see somebody who has done the maintenance. It's currently sealed. Stripes look good. It's in fine shape. We go right next door and we see a parking lot that has never been taken care of and is completely failed. Here's a speed bump. It's not painted. That's the biggest liability you have. Somebody tripping on a speed bump that hasn't been painted. Or maybe it was painted once upon a time and it's completely worn off. So this would be a great option for cement treatment. Grind it up, add cement, pave back over it, and it'll hold up to heavy traffic, like containers and things like that. Here's an example of non-compliant ADA stalls. That sign isn't compliant, that ramp isn't compliant, you can't see the logo on the parking stall. So here is an example of the ADA logo that goes on the parking stall. This is completely wrong. It's supposed to be white on blue, not blue on white. It's not the right stencil, and this is supposed to be blue. Looks like they did some work over here, some ADA work to try to get it compliant. This part looks like it's compliant, unlike that over there. So today we've looked at pavement maintenance and seen so many options and so many parking lots in various stages of condition based on how much maintenance it's had. The point is, asphalt's a flexible pavement and it needs to be maintained. I'm currently standing on concrete. It's a rigid pavement and there's nothing that you can do. It's going to last as long as it lasts depending on the load that's on it. But with asphalt, it has a life and you want to maximize that life, and the way you do that is proper maintenance. And if you need to know what that looks like, call DRYCO. We can help you.